Well, hello there, everybody. Good evening. Welcome aboard. We have some playoff DAS League action over here. And this is a quarterfinal battle in the DAS League. It is Wallbant. It is IanKeith. And we'll see how this one plays out. On the left, we're going to have Wallbant, record of 160 and 109, ELO of 2024. PB is 1.702 million on 19. It's 1.632 million. He is a roller, which means you're probably not going to see the scores you're seeing up there. On the other side, we have IanKeith, 235 and 179 is the record. 1624 ELO, PB of 1.218 million, and on 19 it's 1.203 million. And IanKeith is a DAS player. Again, we are in Tier 1 of DAS League. This is a best-of-5 playoff battle. Players are going to have their input display and Hertz counter up. You'll see those on the screen, but they do not have to have DAS mode on. Pausing the game strictly prohibited. Spirit of DAS rules are in play. If you break them, you're topping out when it happens. And all level starts are on 18. And as far as the bracket, I will get it loaded up momentarily, but we are in the quarterfinals, and I do believe the winner of this game will take on Blue Scooty in the semis. So let's throw it over to the match screen. IanKeith is on and getting warmed up. We'll get Wallbant refreshed, make sure Wallbant is ready to go. Nope, he's still offline. Of course, he may also be on an alt. I do not know for sure on that. But we'll find out in a little bit the current Wallbant situation. But actually, I need to flip. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. We need the DAS League setup. Fantastic. There we go. That looks better. So yeah, once Wallbant joins us, we can get this battle underway. But I suppose while we're waiting for him, I can give you all a seed. There it is in the chat. Feel free to plug that in if you so desire. AD376B. Hey, I hear you. Playing with house money is a good problem to have. Right. Give Wallbant another minute or two to make his way on, then I'll try pinging him again. Oh, okay. You're on an alt. That solves that problem. There we go. We'll get that fixed. All right. Now we're in business. So there we go. We'll get that camera all arranged. There we go. That's looking better. So we'll let the players finish their warm-up. Seed is in the chat, so once y'all are ready, plug her on in. We will get this quarterfinal battle started. So the seed is AD376B, A as in AV Geek, D as in Dangler, 376B as in Brodendamp. That is your seed. All right, and not that I doubt you all. If you haven't done so already, just make sure your input display and hertz counter are on before we get this match going. All right. And Wallbant showing off the dog bone controller. Love to see it. I haven't seen one of those in, I couldn't even tell you how long. I had one with my NES, but man, I haven't seen one prior to this since I had my own. Yeah, IanKeith's controller looks very similar to mine. I have a Hyperkin controller. And my Hyperkin controller says Scoo on it because apparently I have rubbed off the T and the I on Scooty. Alright, I've got it ready from IanKeith, so once Wallbant is all set, we'll get game one going. Hey, they are both looking ready, so let's count down this first game in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. And we are off. We've got a ZJL opener. Things are looking good. IanKeith going for the early pushdown points. You never know when pushdown points will come in handy. I can say from first-hand experience, they could very well help you get a victory. So, no shame in that by any means. But again, for those of you tuning in, you see on the very bottom there, you've got the hertz counter on the outside edge of the screen for both players, and then inside of the hertz counter, you see their input display. So just allow us to make sure that they are indeed dancing and there's no funny business going on. Anyway, early on, IanKeith's got a couple gaps in the stack. If he gets the right burns, he shouldn't be too hard to take care of. Does get that T-piece over. Sometimes at high levels, that's a difficult one to flip and not have hang on you, but he does so masterfully. And again, we are just over 20 lines in. 41,000 for IanKeith, 94,000 for Wallbant. Again, IanKeith just got some early cleanup to do. Nothing too bad. But, yeah, while he's taking care of that, that's going to allow Wallbant to expand on this lead he has. So we'll see what he is able to do with it. As Ian's got a couple more burns to go. Now if he gets a long bar, he's going to pretty much be running free at this point. But, of course, when you need a long bar, guess what? Doesn't show up. If you guessed the long bar, you are correct. Because I think we're about at the point where we're getting droughted here. Looking at this drought coming up, it's definitely more than 14 pieces. I would say, oh man, that was about a 30-piece drought by my estimation. As IanKeith gets it and he's able to open up that well finally. We are over a third of the way to transition, about 180,000 transition pace for IanKeith, and probably we'll call it a 420,000 pace for Wallbant, who does get a Tetris. We are over 50 lines cleared for both players. 168,000 for Wallbant, 112,000 for IanKeith, who does get the Toastress. And looking at things now, looks like, as far as what I can see on stream, Ian is a little bit into the future. Not too much, maybe by like 5 lines or so. It's not that bad. And, ooh, some style points from IanKeith. He sets up that Vitz 4 rows up, gets it, and then follows up with the Tetris. He's on pace for now over a 300,000 transition. Wallbant not quite halfway to level 19, but getting there very soon. And his pace is looking at, he's probably close to a 500,000 transition pace. So the early edge here going to Wallbant, but lots of time left, lots of game left. We'll see what the future holds for the remainder of this one. Now that we've passed 70 lines for both players, it is 284,000 for Wallbant, 227,000 for IanKeith. So now that he's free, Ian's doing his best to catch up and eat away at this deficit he had from the seemingly endless burn early on. Wallbant with the Tetris, he'll be the first to 300,000. And Ian's got he's got one gap to get rid of. And there it is. And once he opens up the right well, he's going to be in good shape. So there it is. Right well is open. Now he just needs a long bar. And oh my goodness, Wallbant has topped out. Ian, you have a chase down. Target score is 311,000 points. 311K will give you the Game 1 victory. So less than a Tetris will get it done. Current score 305,000. Again, he needs 311K to take this first game of the series. And Ian is not taking any chances. He is planning to line his way out, and he's got enough time to do it before the level 19 transition. One burn should clinch victory, and that will do it. IanKeith has taken game number 1 from Wallbant, leads this playoff battle 1-0. Yeah, that seed did not look fun for either of you. Again, I counted a drought of about 30 pieces in there, and it very well may have been longer, but yeah, I think it was at least a 30-piecer from what I saw. But you can only do what you can control. And we move on to game number 2. And we'll see what this one holds for us. All right, and I've got it ready from Ian. Your seed for this one should be BE. That is B as in Blue Scooty, E as in Evesy. Once I got it ready from both players, we'll get game number 2 done. Okay, and hey, we got it ready from both players here, so it's time for game number 2. Let's count this one down in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. All right. And Ian trying once again to fulfill the role of underdog in this playoff bracket. Takes the early lead on Wallbant. See if it holds up for the remainder. But as of now, he is in the driver's seat to move on to the semis. We didn't get a chance to do so in game 1, but we do like to get to know our players both on and off of the Tetris board. So we're gonna throw some cool info here about Wallbant first, our player on the left. Wallbant. He went to school for mechanical engineering. Currently looking for a job, but you know, sure good things will happen very soon for him. As far as Tetris accomplishments, he's been to many in-person tournaments, CTWC the last 3 years, Montreal last year, went to Motor City, Boston Tea Parity, and 2 Boston 2 Parity. He won UWO Canada last year, and I believe since he filled this out, Wallbant has also gone to Mini D, and what other one was he at? I want to say he was at Hartford. Don't quote me on that, though. I thought I saw him, or maybe I'm thinking of a different tournament. Anyway, he's won CTM Future Circuit 3 times, and he's taken top 16 in DAS Masters. Now we're coming up to about 30 lines for both players. Scores are 143,000 for Wallbant, 124,000 for IanKeith. But he's going to get a Tetris to sneak that lead right back. Now, in terms of sports, Wallbant plays badminton. In his own words, was cracked in high school. He enjoys party games outside of Tetris, so it sounds like stuff like Cards Against Humanity or those very entertaining adult-themed card games. What do you meme? What are some other ones? Now's not the time to be thinking about that. We're a third of the way to transition. Pace check here. Wallbant at about 600,000. IanKeith at about, we'll call it 570,000. So, gotta say it, this seed's looking a lot better than the last one where we had that just filthy 30-plus piece drought that the players had to deal with. So, this one treating them a lot better. Now, outside of Tetris, Wallbant is a speed cuber. He won the Canadian Cubing Championships in the Pyraminx back in 2017. And he is into working out when he's not playing Tetris as a hobby, and, as you probably figured out, speed cubing. Let's see here, we'll get back to that in a moment. Yours were about halfway to transition. IanKeith currently sitting at, we're going to call this a 560,000 pace. And Wallbant, his pace right now, 530,000. So, scores looking really good, especially compared to that first game. Now, their actual numbers, as they are coming up to and surpassing 70 lines cleared, it's going to be 316,000 for IanKeith with a sneaky hey now in the middle, and 297,000 for Wallbant. So it's just under a one Tetris edge for IanKeith, who sets the table perfectly and is able to get a Tetris despite the board getting a little higher than he probably would have liked it to get. But he does maintain this edge in game number 2 as Wallbant now has a long bar dependency in column number 4, which he's going to fill, and it's going to make him Tetris ready. Ian also Tetris ready, so he's going to keep pace here. This is a true lead for Ian. On our screen, he is ahead by about 5 lines, so still a true lead, 388k to 326,000 for Wallbant. So the lead has grown slightly. This is a lead of not quite 3 Tetrises, but pretty close to 3 Tetrises for IanKeith. Well, make it 4 for the moment as he gets another Tetris, and Wallbant gets that long bar over. That was a stack and game-saving move. So he gets that over, lets out a big exhale of relief as he's able to keep his stack alive thanks to that maneuver. Now, over 100 lines. Ian's looking at a transition in the mid-500,000s, whereas Wallbant probably in the neighborhood of high 400s, maybe a 500k transition. Their actual scores, 384,000 for Wallbant, 481,000 for IanKeith, as they're about 20 lines away from this upcoming level 19 transition. Oh, and my last fun fact about Wallbant is IanKeith throws down a Tetris to get the half max. He's at 506,000. Wallbant with one, 413,000. Wallbant likes trying new things when given the opportunity. Loves scenic views of nature and tends to take very little photos during his travels. Whoops. So there you go. Wallbant in a nutshell, as the players have 1 or 2 Tetrises before level 19. And looks like IanKeith is going to burn in level 19, and he transitions at 559,000, a very solid score, and Wallbant transitions 483,000. So the race to level 29 is on. We'll see what these players can do with these games. As Ian is looking to, and he does, he gets burned down. He is Tetris ready once again, throws one down. He's at 613,000 to 511,000 for Wallbant. They're on to level 20. Looks like on Ian's side, he's going to have to take care of a couple of gaps that he has put together. Shouldn't take too much time, but it's going to give Wallbant a chance to cut into this lead. Currently sitting 562k to 620,000. Wallbant trailing by about 60,000 points, roughly 2 Tetrises. And Ian's board's getting a little less than ideal, and Ian's going to top out, so it's Wallbant's turn to chase down. Wallbant, your target is 621,000 points. You actually, with that Tetris, you're almost there, so I believe a burn or two will do the trick. And that burn gets Wallbant the game 2 victory, 630,000 to 621,000. So we'll put that first heart on the board for Wallbant. We are tied at 1 apiece. And if you're wondering, Wallbant, for Mullinish reasons, that pace you are on is about a 950,000. But finishes with a respectable 633k and evens up the series at 1 game apiece. And Wallbant saying, man, I need the luck. Yeah, I didn't get an exact count on that one, but my estimation, I'd probably say it was at least a 20-piecer, which on level 19 speed with DAS could be fatal. But we move on to game number 3. We increment that seed. We should be at CF. That is C as in coal bucket, F as in fractal. Yeah, that long bar came right about as you topped out. So yeah, probably one that was solidly in the 20s. And hey, you know, I'm very much in favor of a double 900,000. And Wallbant getting 7 more lines on level 29 than I've ever gotten. Unless we're talking about crunch mode. And if that's the case, I've gotten 174k on level 29. But again, that is crunch mode. Totally different game. So we move on to game number 3. Both players are ready. Let's count this one down in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. All right. So we're tied at 1 game apiece. You could say it's turned into a best of 3. You could also not say that, because you could say it's still a best of 5. But the point is, someone has to win 2 more games for this one to be over. And early on, Ian with a nice 5 and below tuck. Gets his board straightened out, and now he can try and get back to building for Tetrises. Now, speaking of him, we got to know Wallbant last round. Now it's time for Ian. So what does Ian do for work? Throw things at people, make fun of them, get paid sometimes. Sounds like a pretty fun job to me. Now, he did go to CTWC in 2022 and 2023, and took 2nd and 4th in silver respectively both of those years. He has won CTM Community Tier 1 a few times, has made DAS Masters a couple times, and Stupid Tetris Monthly Masters twice, so very familiar with the classic Tetris Monthly circuit. Now, Ian has held 5 Tetris Friendlies belts. That's tied for the all-time lead with his tag team partner, Dan 2003, or 20 Dan 03, or however you want to call him. Now, we are about 30 lines in for both players. 126,000 for Wallbant, 145,000 for IanKeith, as they make their way towards that checkpoint we have. A third of the way to level 19. We'll update their pace. We'll keep track of how they're doing. Now, outside of Tetris, IanKeith does bowling for a sport. And I guess you could say, pleasantly surprised to see how many bowlers there are in the Tetris community. I know Blue Scooty is one, and I know there are a few others. Anyway, we are now a third of the way to transition. This looks like a 570k pace for Ian, and a 510k pace for Wallbant. Now, he does get that well opened, and oh, that is actually, I love that delayed burn by IanKeith. I don't know if it was planned that way, but it worked to perfection. His well is open once again. Wallbant with a little bit of burning to do up halfway up the board, but He's going to get that opened up, just not in time for the long bar to arrive. Current scores, 190,000. Make it 212,000 for Wallbant to 244,000 for Ian, who has a VIT set up. But he's going to have to abandon that plan as the long bar is not showing. And again, coming up to halfway to transition. Ian is, Ian does have a hay now on the board, 269K, but Ian is looking at about a 520, maybe a 530K transition pace. Wallbant, his is right around 500,000, so they're remaining fairly close, but it is Ian with the advantage right now. He is up by, we'll call it half a Tetris, as we are over 70 lines in. The current scores are 294,000 for IanKeith and 285,000 for Wallbant. Ian having to do a couple of burns to get free, and that he is. Meanwhile, Wallbant is good. He's almost Tetris ready. Now he is. Both players are, in fact, but Ian gets the long bar first. Tetris for him, and then Wallbant right behind. So, again, they're kind of hanging around a lead of about half a Tetris for Ian. Wallbant playing from behind, but not a situation he's unfamiliar with. He had to do it in game number 2 to complete that chase down. But we are about 90 lines in. Yet another hay now. I'm sure it's not planned, but it is quite the coincidence that IanKeith's had like 3 or 4 different hay nows on his score. 370,000 to 356,000. As Ian gets another Tetris, as does Wallbant. So Tetris for both. As we are about 100 lines in. Ian being the first one to clear 400,000, but Wallbant with the Tetris will not be too far behind. He's going to have to wait a little longer for that Tetris. The long bar comes and he is not Tetris ready, which is going to allow IanKeith to add a little more on. But Wallbant with back-to-back Tetrises has us down to a 10,000 point deficit, so he's doing his best to stick in it and keep that pressure on IanKeith, because whoever wins this one is going to have the decided advantage for the rest of this match. And Wallbant, he had a situation I have run into many times where you've got a sequence that is basically Z dependent or S dependent. You put a T piece in, flip it around, and then the piece you've been waiting for that whole time finally shows up. I can't tell you how many times I have run into that. You hate to see it. But now Wallbant with 3 more Tetrises to give. IanKeith can get 1 more before level 19. So let's see how efficient these players decide to play, or if they decide to go safe heading into the level 19 transition. Ian gets there with the Tetris. 518,000 is his score into level 19. Wallbant does have 1 more Tetris, and he's going to get it. 511,000 transition, so now it's a race to the kill screen for these two players. Wallbant now Tetris ready. He gets a Tetris, 537K. IanKeith also Tetris ready. He gets one, 572K, as we're about to go into level 20. Now both players make it, trying to stay aggressive, while also making sure they don't get themselves into a bad situation. But they just keep firing them off back and forth. IanKeith now over 600,000 points, sitting at 600,000. Would love a long bar right now, but Longbar decided it's going to take its sweet time getting here. There it is, Tetris for Ian, but at what cost to his stack? It's a little dicey over here. That Longbar took slightly longer than expected, but he is doing some good burns to get things opened up. Wallbant trying to do the same. 576K for Wallbant, 636,000 for Ian. We're on levels 21 and 22 respectively, as players are trying to save their stacks, get burned down, and try and get back to Tetris building position. Ian is on a 960,000 kill screen pace, not quite max up, but still pretty good. Wallbant is still behind, and he's looking at a 870,000 kill screen pace. So the edge at the moment going to IanKeith. He is Tetris ready, but does have a gap, burns it off, and now waiting for the long bar to show up. Where is that long bar? That burn is not good for his stack. That could be hazardous to your health, and Ian's going to top out. Wallbant, your chase down score is 681,000 points. I don't know if this is line outable. Wallbant with about 45 lines to kill screen, although I think now it might actually be line outable, maybe. He's got 40 lines to go and about 40,000 points to do. So we'll see if Wallbant can make this happen. 645,000 is his score. At 193 lines, he is set up for a dirty column 6 Tetris, and he's going to get it. 678,000 now the score, so just a couple thousand more points will secure victory. And one more burn should do the trick. That does it. Wallbant completes another chase down, 685 to 680k. Wallbant takes game number 3 and gets the edge, 2 games to 1 in this quarterfinal battle. So we put that second heart on the board for Wallbant. And hey, you're close enough to the kill screen. If you want to mullen it out, I'm not going to say anything as Wallbant gets a dirty Tetris. 724,000. He's got about 15 lines to kill screen, so let's see what he can do with this. And you know, now that I'm keeping track, this score will probably actually get Wallbant onto my leaderboard for best kill screen transition score. So let's see what he does. He gets a column 9 Tetris, 763k. He's on level 28. And he is holding out for the long bar. It comes a little too late. And he hangs the the J piece, but can he save this stack? The answer is maybe, but a couple of early dash shifts, he's going to top out. And Wallbant takes game number 3, 766k to 680,000. So GG's to both of you. Wallbant does take the 3-1 series lead. So here we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, you were dangerously high up there. So yeah, pretty impressive to survive that. But yes, we're going to move on to game number 4. Seed should be D0, D as in dog playing Tetris 0. Both players are ready. We're going to count this one down in 4, 3, 2, 1. Tetris. And actually with that game, Wallbant gets onto my leaderboard for DAS high scores. He is now number 3 in terms of highest DAS score achieved on my streams. In case you're wondering, the number 2 spot is a 1.117 million held by Elias, and number 1 is a 1.22 million held by Scamper. And both of those two actually did that against each other in the same game. So if you're looking to get on the DAS leaderboard, now at this point you need about 770,000 points to make it happen. But what IanKeith needs to make happen is a Game 4 victory, because if Wallbant takes this one, it's over. Wallbant moves on to play Scooty in the semifinals. Now, I did not get to finish talking about IanKeith here. Outside of Tetris, the games he enjoys are JRPGs, Pokemon, roguelikes, rhythm games, chess, badly, and VR chat. When he's not playing Tetris, he enjoys hosting for speedrun marathons, random gaming, and other streaming, and being an unapologetic furry. Not just a furry, but an unapologetic furry. Now, the other fun stuff he wants us to know: Ian's a longtime furry who enjoys using their voice to help out whenever possible. Hosts for speedruns, commentary, just chattering away while gaming, streaming. Prone to going off on a series of tangents, vaguely connected to one another, until he's forgotten what he's talking about in the first place. And he is by far the best strong bad impersonator of anyone he knows. And holds the character far too long until his throat goes out, which, if you're doing a strong bad voice, is almost bound to happen. So there you go. That's a little bit about IanKeith, who may need to talk to Texas Instruments about maybe doing an endorsement with all those tangents he's got. He's practically a graphing calculator. And yes, that was your Ben Mullen dad joke of the day. Current paces, as we're a third of the way to transition, 460k for Wallbant, and we're going to call this about a 540k pace for IanKeith. So The journey goes on towards level 19 and beyond. Their actual scores, as we are at 50 lines cleared for both players, 201,000 for IanKeith, 181,000 for Wallbant. And Ian throws down a Tetris. Wallbant also Tetris ready in his own right. The long bar shows up just in time for another Tetris. So let's hope this game has just as much excitement as the last one, or two, I suppose. Let's hope we get some good level 19 action. Let's hope we maybe get a good chase down, whether or not it succeeds. You love a good chase down effort. We are now halfway to transition. 540k pace for Ian, and we'll call it a 500,000 pace for Wallbant. So numbers still looking good. They're holding steady to reach a half max by level 19. And Ian working to get that stack down. Had a slight spire of Z pieces. Now he gets the Vits, but he does make him long bar dependent, and I think he immediately regretted his choice because you see the facepalm right as he did it. But he's going to be able to burn this down and still maintain the lead, but B also end up Tetris ready. And Chef has joined the chat. He is on Team Wallbant for this one. Actual scores, about 80 lines in for both players. 345k for IanKeith, 347k for Wallbant after he gets the Toastress. But at the rate this is going, it's probably going to be a back-and-forth game for the foreseeable future as they're trading blows, trading Tetrises. And we'll see who ends up blinking first in this one. Both players Tetris ready, waiting for this long bar to show up. It's been a little bit. We're going to start the drought counter. I'm calling this a drought. And as soon as I say it, it ends. So we'll say it was a 17-piece drought there on that one. And IanKeith gets the T-spin. First to 400,000, 421k. Make it 443k to 399,000 exactly for Wallbant. And we are just over 100 lines cleared. This lead is slightly over. Well, now it's slightly over two Tetrises for IanKeith, 422 to 466k. As we await our impending arrival at level 19 in about 20 lines. Things will speed up tremendously, 50% in fact, compared to what you're seeing now. And we're going to get that for quite a while, 100 lines in fact, for those of you keeping score at home, until we reach level 29, assuming we reach level 29. But before we get to that, before it was a mini Z-Spire, now it was a mini S-Spire that IanKeith had to deal with, and he handles it perfectly. He's got one more Tetris he can get before level 19. Wallbant has two more, and Ian does have the half max, as does Wallbant. One more Tetris for both players until they hit 19. IanKeith gets it. He transitions at 530,000. Wallbant still waiting. He's not quite Tetris ready. Now he is. Where is that long bar now? He just got one a little while ago, so it could be a bit. There it is. And he's going to transition at 541k. So now it's a race to level 29. A race to see who can get there first or who tops out first. And if Wallbant tops out first, it's going to be a little chase down here as he's waiting for that long bar. Burning smartly. There it is. Tetris for Wallbant as Ian is trying to open up column number 6 in his stack. 543 for Ian, 571k for Wallbant. So Wallbant with the edge as he has slowly crept back in and managed to wrench that lead away from Ian on level 20. Ian now on level 21, but Wallbant another Tetris over 600,000, but Ian's going to fire one back on his own. So this is now within one Tetris. Wallbant 629, IanKeith 603,000. So the boards keep growing, the scores keep increasing, and now both players seem to be in a bit of a groove, getting those Tetrises in and pushing each other to the absolute limit. All right. Good building happening. Ian playing very smart right now, as is Wallbant. He's almost Tetris ready. There it is. There's the long bar. There's the Tetris. Hey, now on Wallbant's side, 694,000 to 641,000. Both players onto level 23. Ian needing just a couple of burns to open up that well. Does so. Waiting for the long bar. Gets the Tetris. So the lead hovering around 2 Tetrises for Wallbant. Maybe a little less. But now Wallbant has covered up the well, and he's going to need to do some. He's going to need to do some burning. He's going to need to do it fast. Gets the well open. Now we're just waiting for a long bar to get the Tetris, and ooh, that was a nice little jolt to get that piece over. But now Wallbant's going to have to do some burning, which might allow IanKeith to come back and take the lead. As Wallbant still trying to get his stack open and Tetris ready. Ian taking the smart burns. Ian with the Tetris. This lead is only 14,000 points at the moment, although it's grown slightly since then. 752. Make it 785 for IanKeith, who takes the lead on level 26. 785 to 804. Now Wallbant has fought for it right back. So this one's a barn burner, folks. We could see some kill screen action here. Both players on level 26. Both players now approaching or exceeding 800,000 points. 838 for Wallbant, 827 for IanKeith. Ian now on level 27. And he's got to get that right side open once again. Does so. And we're under a 10,000 point lead for Wallbant, who does get the Tetris. We're approaching level 28. This is looking like a collision course with the kill screen. Ian does get the Tetris, 874 to 882. There are only a handful of lines left these players can get until the kill screen. Wallbant does throw down a Tetris, 928 to 876. And are we going to see 2 kill screens here? There it is. Kill screen for Ian at 883,000. It's not going to be enough. And Wallbant is going to take game number 4 and Tetris into kill screen. 964,000 is the score into level 29. What a game from both of you. Double kill screen, and Wallbant escapes with a victory. And we're going to do 2 things here. Number 1, Wallbant has just improved his DAS high score. I'm going to put that down. And Wallbant also gets onto the board for kill screen transition, so we're going to put that down too. So let me update those really quick. Okay. Whoops. Okay, that is definitely not what I wanted to do. There we go, and we'll update that for Wallbant. So Ian saying he follows game plan for 1 game, game number 4. But hey, that was a great game number 4. So, ooh. There we go, and there is the dog bone once again. Wallbant is going to move on, and the other thing I am going to do is I am going to try and very quickly get that playoff board up. So give me just a second to put that in. Actually, wait, can I do this? Hey, I can do this apparently. So let me, actually, no, that does not work at all. That worked horribly. So give me a sec to fix that. Because I had the window up, but then it was like, no, we're only going to show a little bit of it. There we go, that's much better. We'll do a little of this, and a little of that, and a little more of that. And then we'll also do some of this. And if we do all of that, we get a bracket on the screen. So let's show the bracket. The score obviously is not in, but Wallbant wins 3 games to 1. He's going to move on to play Blue Scooty in the semifinals. So your DAS League Tier 1 semifinalists, Wallbant versus Blue Scooty, and then you have Tegamek versus Robin. The winners of those two will meet in the Tier 1 DAS League Finals. Thank y'all for coming out tonight. This was a fun one. Wallbant takes it in 4. And also managed to get on the Toast Stream leaderboard for a couple of categories, so we'll update those slides for our next restream, which will happen at some point in the near future to be determined. Okay, and in the meantime, what am I going to do here? I'm going to put that up. We're going to throw it back to the match screen just so I can quickly find a stream to raid. And let's see who's playing Tetris at this time of night. It is almost 10 p.m. Toast time over here, so we'll see who we can raid. Okay, apparently MathWiz is on. We're going to confirm that. Actually, I will take a look because I do have the record of all of my streams here. So let me see. Where's my thing? Is this it? No, that is not it. I have a sheet that shows my that shows all of the matches I've done and who has played who and everyone's record. That's where I was able to get my leaderboards and stuff. Oh, there it is. It's on my Google Drive. So I can tell you your record, Ian. Let me find it. So Ian, your record on matches I have streamed with this one is 1 and 2. You're 1 and 2 on my streams. But anyway, I was going to confirm that MathWiz is streaming right now, because that sounds like he might be doing an Eat My Elo. And if so, we're going to go raid him. Yes, MathWiz is on, so we're going to raid him. Thank you all for coming out for this DAS League quarterfinal. And now we're going to Eat My Elo. It's actually Kingsman that is on right now. So let's go check out all of that action. See y'all over there. But in the meantime, this is Toast signing on out.